Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Will. So, APLD stock is definitely on another run, at least in the last day or so. It's pushed up about 15%. I was feeling kind of ill this morning. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the change in food or the change in time zone or just the different season or something. I was feeling ill this morning, but feeling good now. And hopefully, you guys are doing well today. Let's jump into it. Hopefully, everyone is having a great Monday. We got some focus today on the data center markets. We do see some green so far today and a lot of positive sentiment in the data center market. I know we just made a video yesterday. Some of the conversation was, is there a negative sentiment around the data center market because maybe there's more shorts than what people would like to see, and some people are shorting the market of data centers, things like that. And then we also talked about, the environmental impact, which that was a whole nother video. We, go into, what the local communities are thinking about the data centers and things like that. But now, and that's a really important factor. But in this one, we were just talking more along the lines of just continuing some of the direction, continuing some of the overall trek that we're on right now, where we're seeing the data center market go in a certain direction that investors would like to expect. And so that's kind of what's going on here, maybe with APLD as it bounces at $20 a share. What we'd expect was that $20 bounce. And then this morning, so this was our stock talk yesterday, we were looking here. It's important if you're looking for a recovery, there's got to be some things to line up for that recovery. So whether it's the good financials, or it's the market sentiment in general, or rate cuts, or maybe it's the earnings coming out, some good earnings from companies like NVIDIA or in the data center market. And you might even look at things like support and resistance. And in this case, we're looking support and resistance along with those factors. And we've seen that it's gone up about 15% over the last day, surging about 11.5% today. APLD is recovering or on its way back up to this $25 range, which is a 20% recovery. So this is now looking like potentially it can break out. It's still holding below the moving average, and you can see that green moving average acting as a resistance, which oftentimes it will in a bear movement. And then a bullish movement, you're going to see it kind of acting more as a support level. But right now, it's just trying to break out. We'll see how it ends the rest of the day for APLD into the rest of today. Now, what is useful to know as an investor in a company like APLD is that you are certain that there is some real world usage, and the market cap could grow to new highs. And as a company, like APLD, you see them start to trend over the last year, and their market cap has really surged up to, I think they're, what are they, 5 or 6 billion? Let's just take a look here. Let's see where they're at. Might even be less than that. Market cap APLD stock. Let's jump in. $5.95 billion. Okay, so they added about $900 million today in a little bit less than that, but about $700 million in market cap today as they recovered. And what you want to look for is that the market caps are justified, especially in an AI market. I know it's like everything could be hype. You have a lot of companies going up for no reason. Obviously, that happens quite often. But what I'm talking about is like the actual value. So when we're looking at APLD, there's a few things that they have. You can see they've been soaring here. There's a $16 billion AI lease pipeline today. And they're only at 5.95 billion. And 2023 Gainer says APLD, DVLT, HOVR, TE Energy, SoundHound, a strong start to the week for tech and rewards again for the dip buyers. I would agree with you. Yeah, so that's been the sentiment, and is the sentiment usually when the market dips sharp, like it dipped the last few weeks. And let's say that happens tomorrow, or that happens in the next week or in the next month. more times than not, if nothing's changed about the thesis around the companies, like let's say, you see APLD dip, but they didn't have this $16 billion lease, or they didn't have this revenue increase, or the balance sheet surging 150% on the assets to 2.4 billion. If they didn't have those things and they dip down, okay, now you have thesis getting broken down very much, right? You're seeing a break in pattern. You're seeing not things to hold it up into that pattern. Okay, then yeah, it makes sense that it's going to not be maybe a good investment, and probably shouldn't have been an investment in the first place. And I've been there before. But what I'm saying is, in the future, when you see a stock dip and then you look at their news and you see that they have these data centers that they're building, that they're getting big deals with CoreWeave in the billions of dollars, and that if we look at the company, I actually like to pull it up over here in the machine. Let's do it, APLD. And you look at their top transactors and you see companies like, let's say, NVIDIA, investing in them. So you could go over to the top transactors. Let's see if we can jump in top transactors here. And you could see right now, let's get rid of that one of the top investors in this APLD stock is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA has been buying, State Street's been buying, and so that's kind of an indicator. It's kind of an indicator. So the things you look for kind of lined up there. And now you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, it looks great. It's a 10%, 11% surge today on APLD. IREN stock is up 13%. BITF is surging 12%. Wolf stock's up 10%. They've gotten investments from Google, and you see Supermicro Computer even doing a little good there. But in general, you look at that and you say, okay, are we going to see that now recovery over the next few days, few weeks, continuing up? And really, if we were looking at just the fundamentals and the increase in demand that is in AI, then you're saying, yes, that's most likely what we're seeing here, kind of like this V-shaped pattern. We're going to see that kind of kick in. How many of you guys are looking at APLD today and the data center market, and you're saying, like, I don't understand this at all. Like, why are these stocks like jumping up and down and going crazy? And then how many of you guys are looking at them and saying, oh, there you go again, a big dip followed by some, manipulation, and then now we're going to see them recover and, rip to all-time highs. I'm curious where you guys are coming from, because to me, usually it's because I've been burned way in the past. When I first started investing, I would see the market dip like this. I'd be like, it's over. Every time I used to think the market's over. And then every time I just recover everything. And so I think, we have to treat the market with respect. And that's been one of the most the strongest things that's allowed me to grow my portfolio, is just treating the market with respect in instances like this. So APLD, and then DVLT from one of our members here, and Joel says APLD is dirt cheap. They are dirt cheap. Thanks for tuning in, Joel. Yeah, I think, if you're looking at their current market cap to the deals that they have, APLD is very cheap right now. If you're looking at the current income statements, they look expensive, because we haven't seen their income statement really take off that much since signing some of these deals. In fact, their net income still negative. And when it comes to their mission, though, and we see where they're building, things look pretty good. News looks good. Demand's there. We did want to see that everything was good as far as continuing to build, and wanted to make sure the local communities where the data center was getting built is, it's being built ethically, and the local communities are cool with it, and things like that. I think is really important in the expansion of AI, that, the energy makes sense, but the impact on locals makes sense. This is a big technology. It's a big thing, these data centers. And in that research, it seemed like for the most part, things looked fairly at peace with their new sites that they are building in North Dakota, so that's good. And let's jump into some of the other ones. So you got one of the other stocks. So is there anything else on APLD? What's the current levels before we do? The risk management. Now that it's made this move of about 15%, and it's jumped up here into this 2350, and we see it start to retest this previous SMA, we're seeing it now approach with nearest support levels right here around about $22 a share is the nearest support. Okay, so that might also be kind of a pullback into this, EMA. But now that we've seen it consolidate from left to right, there's 3 stages to a reversal. Now, obviously, we're in an overall uptrend. We've seen that. We can zoom out. We can see that overall uptrend since $3 a share of, early this year, before summer on APLD. But whenever you're going from one trend to another, you have 3 stages to a reversal. And so we could take, for example, you could see this. You have the downtrend. Okay? Kind of a downtrend. And you could even go really steep and see this downtrend as of recently that looks something like this. This is not the prettiest, but hopefully you guys kind of get the point here. So downtrending. Then you see some consolidation. Okay, so consolidation from left to right is when we see it find support, which it did here right around this $19, $20 range. See it find support. It's now consolidating and moving from left to right, this APLD stock. And they are looking good fundamentally. They're looking good on the news side. Financials improving. Now you're saying, okay, the third stage, so second stage is consolidation, and the third stage is the reversal. And so for the reversal to happen, and let's say you want to see it continue that overall uptrend and get back up into that $35, $40 range or $50 range, the next level to break above is going to be breaking above this $24.50 range. So we see it break above there, that 5% further. Okay, if it breaks out, now we're looking to use that previous resistance there around 24.50 as a support level, and then see it continue up in that direction with next resistance probably right around here, about $27 a share. So the resistance is going to be not easy probably to break out. We'll see how the markets react over the next day and a half, 2 days. If it breaks out, excellent. Now you're looking for targets into that. Again, $27, $30, $35 a share. So right now, holding between this $20 and $25 support on APLD, it's going to be looking to break out above $24.50 and hold, right now at least, hold above that $22 range. And definitely hold above the $20 range. That's what you'd like to see. So, or you'd not like to see. If you're shorting the stock, you might not want to see that. But hey, that's how it looks, and hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Let me know what you think and how you're kind of approaching the APLD approach right now. What's going on? And let's jump into it. So the next one that we had some focus on here. Oh, feeling so much better today. How's everybody feeling? Monday feeling good? Comparison of not just maybe feeling good health-wise, but also seeing some green in the market. That's always nice. Data vaults. Okay, we can take a look. So A Nights says placing some large purchase orders in case it pulls back to around $20. Got it. If you're placing those around $20, that's not bad. You're kind of putting, if you were to enter on a shorter term trade, you're essentially looking for placing your order where most people, if they're entering right now, would probably place their stops, which is usually a good approach. Nice. We'll see if it hits that $20 again. I have a feeling it may not, but we'll see. I mean, it may hit it in the future, but I have a feeling we might see this consolidation and reversal and continuation up. We'll see how it plays out. And the reason why is just because of this 3 stages. But sometimes that second stage can drag on for much longer. We might see them sell back down to 20, back up to 25, back down to 20 for a while before they recover. So that's always a possibility. I would expect that it's going to continue up sooner though. Okay, Joel says, I'm basing that evaluation on their contracts and the investor presentation on their website that shows over 80% margin for NOI. Just from their contracts, they could be a $25 to $30 billion company. And that's kind of, the general thesis we have as well when we're looking at APLD and what they've been able to accomplish over this last year from $3 to, $23 right now is the contracts. And the following of the contracts it's important because you also want to make sure it actually hits their balance sheet, that it actually makes that run into their actual bank account. Okay, and let's see, Elias says, I mimic that. Same place. Okay, so looking for a buy order around 20. Got it. Thank you for sharing. And then Giannis says, good evening from Romania. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for tuning in from Romania. Alvin, what's going on, Alvin? Good afternoon. NVTS, please. Yeah, so there are some really interesting companies to cover. NVTS is one that I've been, let's just jump into it. Let's just see what's going on with them lately. Because in the past, we've been more hesitant to cover this stock. See how they're doing today. Up about 6.8%. Let's see what they look like. All right. Kind of finding a support there a little bit. If you drag it out just a tad, maybe finding a support. So kind of similar scenario where they were selling down pretty aggressively. They're a semiconductor company. And then in their sell down from October 21st till today, now they're maybe starting to, kind of consolidate from left to right before reversing potentially. Now, when we've looked at NVTS, let's take a look at the financials really quick. If that's okay, you guys mind? We dive in here. You guys cool with NVTS? Let's jump in. We got market cap 1.8 billion. Okay, revenue 10 million a quarter, with negative 20 million in the last quarter, and then negative 50 million the quarter before. So negative revenues, okay. General consensus, which we don't really pay attention to much, is a hold. And let me pull up an analysis here on NVTS and get a look at the insider buying as well. So we got 226 sells compared to 194 buys. So generally, the institutions have been selling this stock. Why is that? Well, you see State Street kind of sizing down a little bit. Bank of America sizing down. BlackRock sizing down a little bit. Insiders, from the insider perspective, it looks like you have 11 purchases versus 9 sales. So for the most part, insiders are holding kind of steady. Cautious confidence from the insiders right now. Projections from AI say there's a support here. Let's see. Support is at $8 a share. Okay, and that the nearest support is at $8 and that the next month is projected negative to break that support. Okay. And why is that? Why are they negative, and what does the next 6 months look like? 6 months is negative. This is just according to OpenAI, given all the data. 1 year is negative, anticipating on NVTS. So most indications indicate more bearish momentum. You look at the annual growth, their revenue's up only about 4%. but their quarterly, if you look at their quarterly revenues, see how they're blue? This is the quarterly revenue. 21 million in 2024 September. Oh, then 17 million, then 14 million, 14 million, then 10 million. The revenue is actually down 50%. So do you see how the revenue is actually decreasing here? Decreasing revenue? To me, it doesn't make sense, because if you're looking at a semiconductor company, and if there was ever a time when semiconductor companies would do very well, it would be during this AI boom. And so it does make sense, actually. It makes sense that the projections are kind of negative according to our AI here in the machine. But also it makes sense that they are having a little more difficulty if their revenue's, selling off. Now the balance sheet looks okay. You see the balance sheet kind of decreased since 2023, and they haven't seen it really go up too much. Their balance sheet is down, and you can see just kind of year over year as their assets dropped about 20%, their liabilities went up 60%. So these are just some indicators that don't look that good from the financial standpoint of NVTS. Now the other point of NVTS, and I'm not a hater in any way, this is just the facts, right? But you do have a lot of manipulation on this stock, and you've seen it be very choppy. And then you got to look at the the revenue's decreasing, which is a measurement of the company's contribution to the marketplace, right? But you also have the news on the company, and looking at their products. What's made me skeptical is all of the AI or the articles. This is a red flag in most cases. Let me tell you the red flag. When a company has like press releases and news that they share that is talking about how big the market is, but not necessarily what they're doing or what they've released or what they're working on or building, but more about how big the market is. And so I saw that in the past quite a bit, where they were making a lot of articles that was talking about, oh, this market is so big, the market's growing so fast, and they're saying we have the industry's first this and the industry's first that. And then they got some outstanding technical collaboration award, partnering there with PSMC, and powering one of China's next generation chargers. Okay. And so I guess what I'm looking at it is I see a lot of 3D looks. I don't really see the revenue, and I haven't seen the real world usage kick in. And then you look at all the different industries. This is another thing you want to watch. And I'm not saying this is a red flag. In fact, I could be totally wrong. This company could continue to grow and have a lot of success. But one thing you do look at is if a company has decreasing revenues, but they are working in many different industries like data centers, solar, industrial, electric, smart grids, transportation, but they're still losing revenue, it shows you like they haven't really figured it out. Like they're trying to like get into a bunch of different industries. They're trying to do a lot, but they're not, making money. And so that's just something to watch. So with the current market cap of around, 1.8 billion, I don't think it really makes sense other than that they're in the semiconductor market. I think what you would more than likely expect for a company like NVTS would be a market cap probably around like 700 million to a billion. But the market's, it's holding with them. I know there's also a lot of videos, like people make videos about this stock all the time. I don't, but I have seen some videos. So for you as an investor, I would just say, yeah, look at the financials. Don't really worry. There's a lot of hype too. So don't really worry about what everybody's talking about. I would just, if you're going to consider the facts, just kind of look at those financials. Because I think that there are some important things to consider that might indicate that it's going to actually have some struggles here in the near term. So they pulled back, on the chart. Maybe they're going to find support, continue up like this. But they are selling down. They got bearish momentum, and according to the AIs, with it support at $8, they're actually projected some negative corrections here. So we'll see. But I'm definitely happy to continue to cover it for you guys. As far as like not full videos probably, but if you would like analysis, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for bringing it up. Thank you so much, Alvin. Let's see what else we got. We went over APLD. We got some good breakdowns. While we're here, let's take a look at DVLT, because I know there's been a lot of people that have been bringing this one up. It's not on my watch list just yet, but I've done some analysis on this, I believe. Data Vault AI. Okay, so this company is a company, if I'm not mistaken, they're in like the data center, who would guess? Data visualization, monetization, okay. They're called Data Vault AI. And then let's just take a look. What was the thesis? Can you share with me? What were you guys looking at with DVLT? Why were you watching this one? Can you share with me what the reasoning is? Is there something you're seeing? Is it just something somebody said, hey, DVLT, or is there something really specific that you're actually noticing with the stock that you like? Is there anything like that? If you can share that with me, that would be great for some context of what you're looking at here. When we look at the net income, you got negative net income, increasingly negative. Their revenues are up slightly. The percentage of the revenues look great, up 147% year over year, but they're it's only about $1.5 million, which isn't really that much. Okay, so they're making about 2.9 in the last quarter, and annually they're bringing in around $2 million to $5 million with a negative net income, okay, of 50 million. Then you see 752 million market cap. Okay, does that make sense for them? Given their income and given their market cap, no, it does not make sense. What would be more likely is that they're under $100 million market cap, given what we're just seeing with the financials. But we'll jump in. Kurt says, tokenized trading of data assets through specialized exchanges. Okay, got it. They posted good earnings, but that was in a red day, so they broke out today, Papacito says. Okay, thank you, Papacito. And then DVLT, $200 million expected in 2026. Okay, so I'm just going to, first of all, tokenized trading of data assets through specialized exchanges is something that sounds kind of sketchy if they don't have a established infrastructure. If they're trying to do that and they don't have an established infrastructure, then they're going to try and onboard companies onto their tokenized trading of data assets, and the company's going to say, look, we'll just pay you this money for that, and let's just call it. That's what the transaction is. And tokenized trading of data assets is not an easy thing to do unless you have many customers that are using your services, and they are excited about getting access to what it is that you're offering through that specialized exchange or what have you. So that's one thing. They do have their cash increase to 138 million, but it's not a big deal. Let's jump out of the financials. Let's take a look at their site. Data perception, pricing, and secure monetization, power of blockchain, Web3, and high-performance computing. Their website is horrendous. They have these stock images of these like visual things. They have these stock AI generated images of people like listening to music and a random thing that looks really cool but has nothing to do with any product. Acoustic science division, okay. Checking savings data, harnessing artificial intelligence, and then there's a picture of an AI generated like Navy ship. If there was, this is Don't let AI sink your battleship. Empower your organization with the right Web3 tools to turn data into an asset. I love the actual approach that they're having as far as like data into an asset, because for example, like we were just using our AI company here, and I was just saying, we're going to start tracking all of the projections that come out from Grok or from Claude or from Gemini. And when those projections come out from users that use our platform here on the machine, that it actually will be able to tokenize it or put it on the blockchain, so we can always see the performance of all these AIs in the markets. And I'm really excited for that. I'm bullish on this type of stuff that you guys are bringing up with DVLT. But very, very strange website. I've seen strange websites before. This is a strange one. Acoustic science and audio. Okay. Data vault. All right. So this is what we kind of hear. And they got these weird images. Like, what does this have to do with their product? Compliance, privacy, cybersecurity are first principles. Data vaults, patented solutions. Not a red flag, but sometimes companies are like, we've patented this. We've patented this. And it's like, just because you patent it doesn't mean it's valuable always. Okay, now we get to see their actual platform here. So they have equities data, US Bank equities data from 2008 to 2018. They put this data, and it looks like they put it on maybe the blockchain, active data connections. So they're able to take a bunch of data, industry data, and they can sell their data on the blockchain or even do things like NFT drops. Okay. Yeah. For me, I think what they're doing could be cool, but I think that they're way, 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 way too early, and their marketing is really strange. And I wouldn't trust this. So I'm just going to lean back away from the marketing, away from the website and everything. I'm just going to lean into the financials and say they're losing money and their market cap is probably about 7 times greater than it should be. And then, okay, then Kurt says they could be making $200 million in revenue. $200 million. Okay. Where is that? Where is that? How do I find that? Because this could change things. Let's say they have a really big, deal or something. Okay, they're doing a meme coin over there. All right. Multi-million-dollar tokenization services agreement with Triton Geothermal to provide significant revenue opportunities. So they got a multi-million-dollar deal in November. Multi-million-dollar deal. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to end it here with this one. It's really just, okay, they're partnered with a radio station. I really appreciate the information. I just don't think that it's really going to contribute to their value to the marketplace that much. It's possible that I could be totally wrong as well. And I actually really appreciate your perspective, and thank you guys for sharing it. But again, I don't think I'll be covering it too much in the future due to the, in my eyes, there's some misleading things. I don't know about the integrity of the company, so I'm just going to kind of move on. Okay, next one. You got, Yanis says, ONDS. Let's take a look. ONDS. Okay, so Ondas, this is a drone tech company, if I'm not mistaken. Here we are. And they're up about 26% today. What a green day for Ondas. Gene Inger is one of the founders of, or first members of like CNBC, where they kind of made entertainment out of financial news. I'm one of the subscribers to his letter, and I really love his content. He's had some really good insights, and he talks about this company quite often. And we've seen them; they've had some volatility. They broke pattern back here in October, and then they kind of kept the same thing after kind of slowing up for a little bit. And they've been on this uptrend since November 7th. Volatility is there. You know, you see them jump what is about 20% up and then 20% down. They're currently, RSI looks overextended, overbought, but you just see there's a 30 or 40% swing. There's a 30% swing. There's a 35% swing. I mean, it's pretty volatile, very volatile. And they're at $8 a share right now. And if we look at some of their growth in the markets that they're participating in, they have seen revenue growth this last quarter and year. Now, if you look annually, it didn't look so good. If you look into the revenue into this year, you could see just over the last few quarters, they've increased their revenue here. And you can see they've jumped revenue from about $1.5 million back in 2024 to as much as $10 million this last quarter. Net income still negative, but for a drone company doing $10 million in a quarter, it's pretty good. They've had some defense deals come in. They've had some more cash come in. Their cash is now up 15,000% to $550 million in assets. And their market cap's at about $2.6 billion. So they're still fairly small. $500 million in assets and then $10 million a quarter. They still are looking to increase that revenue further. Let's take a look at their site and see how things are going. So they got mission critical networks and autonomous drone infrastructure, counter UAV and intelligence or artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, and they work in everything from drone tech to even the railways to deployments of surveillance and automation, and they target industrial and government users. And they are focusing on a market that's pretty big, obviously, but one of the things that they've had come out in the last few weeks, I believe, are some new press releases that are pretty significant for their company. Because, again, they just only had $1 million last year around this time in their revenue, but they had $10 million this last quarter. Shortly after even the $10 million quarter, they come in just 4 days ago with a $35 million strategic investment. And then they have acquiring another company, okay, for cyber over RF counter cyber technology, okay. And then $8.2 million order they just secured from a European security agency just last week. And they reported earnings just before that with revenue up year over year by 60%. So in their markets, they're actually really doing quite well. They're doing quite well because they're in the drone market. And the drone market, you know, it's kind of like Jeep, okay? Jeep became the main automobile for the army. Like, it was like the main. Jeep became the main, right? And Ondas, and so there's certain instances in military or government or particularly in defense where you have maybe one product that's used widely throughout the military, right? And in this case, you're looking at Ondas. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they manufacture drones. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they manufacture drones. Does that sound right to everybody? And they are signing some deals for the deployments of their drones, autonomous defense capabilities, and they are designed for complex, high-traffic environments, delivering continuous readiness, rapid response, and precision interception, reliability and safety required to protect critical airspace and national infrastructure. So I'm pretty sure that's their main approach. They actually manufacture these drones. Now, does that sound right to everybody? Let me know. And is it okay? So we went through the financials, looks pretty good. Let's go through the chart real quick. So RSI MACD looks overbought. Big day today, 25%. We see them surge. Then you still see the growth here, overall growth on Ondas over the last year. And they're surging. RSI MACD looking overbought at the moment after this big run they just had today, about 25%. How do the levels look? We were covering them back here. They're making higher highs, higher highs. Where are they at right now? They actually had a pretty key level. This is a pretty key level because you got the previous support and previous resistance. So this is a notorious resistance level at around $8.50. You can see this right here back in October into November, and then just today is kind of where they're at. This kind of a key level, this $8.50 range right here. So that's going to act as a resistance. They have that going for them. But then they're also simultaneously, they got a support level. And I believe their nearest support level is going to be right around here. You got that kind of consolidation back in September, maybe a little bit of a dip down on October. Then you got some more consolidation, kind of resistance and support here, probably around that $7.50 to $8 range. But let's go ahead, let's run it through AI as well. Let's do its ONDS. Okay, so nearest support level, it says that $8.16 with another support around $5.70. Let's see how that looks. $8.16. Oh, so they're going on the day. Let me look on the let's see here. $9 resistance. Let me pull up the full analysis. This is pretty cool. I'm actually really enjoying using this AI tool. Kind of gives us the support and resistance here. Well, that is not NVTS. Hold up. There we go. Okay, here we are. Okay, so $8.20 support, near term $8 support. Anticipation over the next year is very bullish. Wow, look at that. That's one of the most bullish outlooks I've ever seen from Grok. 38%. Can you believe that? 38% gain potential. Okay, so Michael says Ondas will be down tomorrow, still hasn't made a profit. People only trading it must wait for fall to $5. Shouldn't chase in this type of market that today is a dead cat bounce today. Michael says. Appreciate it, Michael. Michael, thanks so much for tuning in. And also Steven says there's $1 billion airport security at LAX. We'll take a look there. James, I just saw your comment on the meme and NFT. Don't touch the meme. Yeah, that came out of nowhere for the for that stock. What stock was it? Data Vault that they had that. I don't want to say anything bad about the company, but I just don't trust. I don't trust that company. There's reasons, but we can go into it. Kurt says Ondas 10 million, 6x year over year. Yeah, you see that backlog. It makes sense. In fact, Kurt has a great point, but then Michael comes in and he's saying, they're probably going to sell back down to that $5 range, something like that. And when we look at their RSI, MACD, everything looks overbought. In fact, if you're kind of looking at their trend they're in right now, the volatility hits hard on this stock. They go up 25-30%, sell down 25-30%. And you can even see that trend recently right here, where you have this kind of uptrend that's been happening over the last few weeks. And it's possible that you get a full breakout and continuation, but You can also see something like this, 15, 13% sell down like that. It's quite possible. And so keeping a close eye there. What's in AI? What's the AI in the video and how can it be accessed? Dave says. Dave, that is what we call now in our initial beta offering is called the machine. And essentially, it is an AI that you can search, any stock, and we have the best AI models in the world, the latest from Grok and OpenAI and Claude and Gemini, and we search the stocks, and then we get projections, we get detailed analysis, contributing factors. It goes through SEC filings, it goes through all that, and top transactors, all that good stuff. And it's right now in beta. So if you wanted to get access, I believe the first link in the description will take you to the page. So yeah, I would love to see you there. But also you can send me an email, Dave, if you want to. I think in the, I'll send you a here. If anybody wants the machine, in case it's closed, I got to talk to my team, but I'm pretty sure it's closed for beta right now. But if you want to stay up to date, that first link in the description will get you access. But yeah, I just sent my email there in the chat. If you want to send me a message, be more than happy to help you get it unlocked for you. Let's see. Dave says, okay, Kurt says, Ondas overcomes bandwidth limitations of legacy networks, serving railroads, utilities, oil and gas, transportation, aviation, government entities with reliable connectivity, data intensive. Got it. Yeah. Hey, that's what we need to hear. Yeah. So I think, Ondas, has a lot of bullish sentiment. They've really broken out from that $1 a share, and they've started to push up to 11 and then just pulled back down. Be careful of a market cycle. So a market cycle, you're looking at them, they look good. They got a lot of revenue right now. You see, or revenue's increasing, balance sheet increasing, market cap at 2.6 billion. Still a little bit of a premium there. So be careful of a market cycle. A market cycle looks like this. This is what a market cycle looks like. It kind of looks like this. So basically you have, the initial, see if I can pull this up in like a bigger view. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. So you have like the initial euphoria, and then you have it sell down, and then you see the recovery. Complacency is right here, and then this is when you have anxiety, denial, panic, capitulation, anger, depression, disbelief, all that, right? So right now it's in kind of a complacency mode where somebody might be in and they're like, wow, it's like recovering, like it's going to go up, it's going to continue up, and everything's all good. But if you see it correct back down in that $6 range, somewhere like this, we see that happen again in this overall trend. It's starting to develop over the last few weeks. You could have some pretty substantial corrections. So as of right now, I think long term, they're looking pretty good as a drone company. I think they're on the right track. But in the short term, just watch that, because, if you see that 10, 15% sell down, you could see something like this down in that $5 range or even $3 range. Just be careful, as it is still pretty small. I don't think that's going to be the case, but that kind of plays onto exactly what I think it was Michael was saying. So he was anticipating a sell down into this $5 range. I would expect the stock to have a pullback after today. 25% increase. RSI MACD look overextended, overbought, anticipating, what would be kind of a correction back down after that big push up, at least into that, $8 support that we just got on the AI there. Okay, what else we got going? Kurt, ONDS overcomes bandwidth. Yep, we saw that. Dave, any thoughts on PACB? Yeah, there was something. PACB, Thomas was looking for BBAI. We got Archer and Sound, Papacito says. Those are good ones to look at. I'm not sure about PACB. I've never looked at that one, Dave. What are you looking at there? What's the interest there? And then Steven says, I was waiting for the big, beautiful bill to be doled out so TSA will empower Big Bear and we'll get rich. But I hear today it won't happen until next year. I guess no one knows. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to get an inside look at the TSA decision making before a contract gets taken on. But I do think even so, it's not necessarily negative because they're actually kind of unique because they don't rely on just the TSA. They're also going directly to the airlines there. Dave Best says, because Cathie Wood bought on PACB. All right. So let's take a look. I think Cathie Wood is great at identifying value. Cathie Wood, I was almost going to search her name. But the problem that I've noticed about most investments and why their fund hasn't done well and why they're actually down and things is because a lot of times they buy these companies that are looking great long term, but they don't hold them long enough, usually. So with this PACB, I'm not familiar. I don't know why Cathie Wood bought this stock. I don't know. And I'm not really here to fully uncover, but I could give you kind of my perspective on the company. $688 million market cap, revenues around basically $38 million a quarter with negative net income and fairly negative. Balance sheet decreasing year over year. And liabilities are almost as great as their assets, so they only have about $36 million in equity. So as of right now, they're based out of Menlo Park, which is an area of interest for most companies because they're in the Silicon Valley area. But financials look pretty bad compared to where they are market cap wise. Most affordable hi-fi genome yet. Chemistry reduces costs and adds multi-omic capabilities. This is way above me. I don't know about human genomics, microbial genomics, plant animal genomics. Is it genomics? Cancer genomics and gene therapy. Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, it looks like they're in a ton of markets. It looks like they're having a lot of consumables. They got sequencing methods. They got purchase. They got software, bioinformatics. They got sequencing systems, technologies. They have human genomics. But at the same time, in the same breath, they're still losing money each year. So personally, I'm just not interested in most companies in like biotech either. Because, I grew up in a place where when I had one of my lungs only worked about 30% when I was growing up. And I had terrible asthma. So I respect biotech, and like pharmaceuticals got me through, with like inhalers and albuterol and all that type of stuff to get me through it, right? But in general, I'm a naturopath. I use alternative medicine. I do teas. We were just commenting this morning because I was feeling kind of sick this morning. Someone's like, I think it was Dean was like, get that turmeric tea. Like, I'm that guy with the arnica oil on my ankle after I sprain it. I'm the guy that's goes on a fast when I don't feel well, and I have pretty good health. And I'm the guy that closes up the busted lip from playing sports with some like yarrow and melon root or something. I'm that guy. So I'm not big on biotech. I'm also just I think it's cool though. The only type of biotech I'm actually interested in is the like powering of AI or like robotics via human cells. They've had some instances where they've hooked up different like AIs or things to like human cells, and that they've actually like functioned and done and like moved around and like seemed to be thinking and things like that. So Kurt Martin says yoga. I don't personally do yoga. My wife Tammy does yoga. I mostly just lift and play sports. But I have done yoga. I like the stretches on yoga. I feel great after I do yoga. But I don't consistently do that. But I would like to, actually. All right, what else do we got? Turmeric, that's the shit's name. Oh, you guys are good. Yeah, man, if you're not feeling good, like get some ginger and some like elderberry. But if you're in the winter and you need your respiratory on track. I'm the dude that does the steam with the pot and all the like eucalyptus and maybe a little mint and all that in a pot and breathes in steam when I get sick. I'm that guy, literally. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, on this one, I just wouldn't touch it. Look at that volatility. RSI, MACD, way overbought at the moment. Maybe Kathy Wood rides a little pump there. I'd have to look at why she bought it. I don't really have any interest in knowing why, but because what's valuable is for you to look at the real world usage, and a measuring stick is how much revenue they're bringing in. Always, it's a revenue stick. You gotta. It's people think that it could just be what people are talking about, but it's not. You have to look at the real world value. What else do we got going on? Data centers were rocketing today. Big Bear AI was rocketing today. Quantum stocks, how are they doing today? Pretty good. Rigetti's up 8.5%, kind of recovering there. IonQ is recovering. Any thoughts on RZLV AMPX? RZLV, has anything changed in the last week? Let's take a look, because I've been very skeptical of this stock. In fact, I shorted it. This is what I think last time I said. This could happen, but I'm shorting it. And I shorted the company RZLV, and I've been shorting it since October. Because, and I'll explain for you if you're looking for analysis. Are you bullish or you're bearish? Let me know. Asitaka, let me know. Asitaka. They got a $1 billion valuation. They are losing money. They have a net income that's negative. Okay, annually they lost about 172 million, while their revenue in the whole year was only 187,000. Dave says turmeric's good for the wounds. Yep, that's right. That's right. You got Dylan for sure, bro. What's going on, Dylan? Vicky G, what's going on? DEFT, we can take a look there. And Steven. Oh, that's cool. Turmeric shot. That's nice. James SK. I love that. Hey, find us an Indian stock. That economy in India is blowing up, says Steven. Find a stock, Steven. Let me know, man. All right, so here's why RZLV is not one we're paying attention to, at least right now, and why I've been shorting the company. They have more liabilities than they do assets. So while they've pivoted to AI, and that's been the conversation, and they're like, wow, look at this, AI and this. And they also say they have strategic partnerships with Microsoft and Google and Tether. I have a strategic partnership with Amazon and also IonQ and Rigetti. I have a strategic partnership with, Grok and OpenAI and Claude and Gemini. Do you see how that's like, I could say that because we use their products in our service, but it doesn't necessarily mean, like, what is your definition of a partnership? And I think that's really important. I don't know if they're being honest. They say they have a partnership, but they don't talk about the partnership. They say they're trusted by leading brands. In what way? So I haven't been fully convinced. I know that they, are doing, AI optimization for things, and they've kind of pivoted to this AI approach, and it looks really great. Their website looks excellent. They got like an LLM and stuff. I think that's a really hard thing to do, is compete on LLMs. In fact, I think what you might. I personally think it's a very hard competition to compete with LLMs. It's like trying to build a search engine to compete with Google, whereas sometimes it could be better to just like get very good at a product that helps you use those things better. That's just my, our approach. But again, you can kind of see, Resolve AI and their approach. While they are seeming to be on the cutting edge, revenue's been down. Haven't seen. They're kind of talking about the market. When you look at their press releases, they are looking at, this market is very big. Former Microsoft executive is working there. Lead $1 trillion agentic commerce revolution as Amazon CEO declares it the future of e-commerce. They're talking about the big market. They aren't talking about what they're doing. And so that's, to me, number one thing that says, I'm out. I'm tuned out. I'm tuned out when people are focusing so much on the market versus where they're able to provide value to the customer, where they're able to grow in their market by being there for their market. And so as of right now, they got more liabilities than assets. And personally, I wouldn't touch them. Now, I know there's a lot of investors that follow this company. They've been investing in it. I just haven't been able to get that information. If you have some information on RZLV that I'm missing, please send it over to me. Because again, I'm not a bear. I'm not here to talk down on any stocks or anything like that. Just here to bring you, what we look for in value. And in person, I would just stay away from it. It looks like it's been manipulated. I don't know if they've always been an AI company. Have they always been an AI company? I'm not really sure. They recently IPO'd and they've had volatility. So, I would just, personally, I'm just staying away from it right now. But again, if you have information, please, by all means, send it over. By all means, send it over to me. I'm not like, I'm not like trying to have any agenda at all. Like, if you find something that is you believe is valuable about this company, share it with me, because I think it could actually, change some of the perspective. I'm just here on my computer looking at financials, looking at the news, looking at this. I haven't been to the company. I haven't walked in there. I don't know everything about the company, right? Okay, what else we got? So Vicky says DEFT. Let's take a look here. And Elvis, I see your comment there. DEFT. DeFi Technologies. Oh, man. Okay. So DEFT. If I was looking at this company, my first initial instinct on this company, as it's had some manipulation in the past, you can kind of see. My first initial thought on a company called DeFi in the stock market is that they should just have their own token, and that if they're really DeFi, they should operate their company with a crypto token, and they shouldn't be listed on the stock exchange. Now, that's just my philosophy. I think it's the same reason I think companies that are strategic Bitcoin buying reserves shouldn't have stocks. It's like, if they believe in it that much, start your own token, allow others to invest in it. And again, that's just really just the opinion. But as far as facts of what they got going, let's see. It's giving me like a Spanish search. Stock. Okay. This stock is at, and who was it? Vicky, thanks so much for sharing. Here we go. Okay. So market cap seems to be very small. 9 employees. Balance sheet. They got some revenue, but pretty high liabilities, over $1 billion in liabilities. Total equity just 117 million. And their website looks like this. Bridging trade finance with innovative exposure to digital assets. This is kind of similar to what DataVault was doing, but they have, let's see, asset management, DeFi Ventures, DeFi Alpha, Reflexivity, Research, Stillman, Digital. When I'm looking at this, I think it's really cool. And my first thing is, okay, then why aren't they on the blockchain themselves? That's what I'm thinking immediately. So that's my immediate thought. And so I don't really trust it, but we could take a look at what they've recently announced here. Press releases. They got a new CEO. Their CEO recently left, so things are a little shaky there on the stewardship. financials came in, revenues of 22 million, operating income of 9 million. And when we were looking at that, they did come in with a positive net income, that's good. Still not sure how they do that with 9 employees. Let's take a look here. Okay. Year-to-date inflows of 115 million. So they're managing money. They're managing some money for people, investing in crypto for them. Launches the first Bitcoin staking ETP. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a way, actually could be valuable to the world because they're helping onboard people from cryptocurrency or from regular dollars into learning, crypto, for example. I think that's in a lot of cases, they're just acting kind of like there will be funds that do very well that are the same type of structure as Berkshire Hathaway, but they will be, rather than a bunch of compilations of really good stocks, there'll be a compilation of really great crypto companies that have a token that represents their company. So that's in the future. There will be, and there probably already are, funds that specialize in not investing your money into stocks, but owning cryptocurrency representations of companies. I think that is definitely going to be a big thing in the future. Now, how they're managing it now is a lot of financials. They're a financial company here. And so I don't see anything that is dynamic in that it makes me overly excited to dive in deeper, because I'm fairly well versed in the crypto market. And if I want to invest in a fund or invest in crypto or something like that, then I'll just go buy the crypto. I wouldn't buy a stock of a company that buys the crypto. That's just, in my approach. Now, some investors, they don't understand crypto. They haven't done the research. And maybe if this company were to be generating higher returns for their clients than the clients had been, if they had gone and invested in crypto on their own, then this company could be really valuable. Now, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if they have their, here's their asset management. You can see how many assets they manage, but I don't see how their returns are. They haven't shared their returns unless there's another place where you look at the returns. But you could see accessing digital assets. Okay. Yeah. For me, the whole point of crypto is so that you can invest in crypto and not have a million eyes on you, So I would rather go direct to crypto than to, go through a third party to buy crypto. I mean, I don't know. It's just every time that this happens, I think of that. But I actually, I like their marketing. I like their approach. And there's going to be a lot of people that want extra help for investing in crypto. So these are called exchange traded products. So again, kind of like the Berkshire Hathaway approach, but or index approach, but for buying cryptos, basically. And yeah, I think it's probably going to be pretty big. But again, they are, annually they're losing some money, and they don't have much equity. You would expect, if they're going to be making, if they're going to have a ton of assets under management, their liabilities wouldn't be nearly equal to that of their assets. So I find that to be concerning, and their financials, to me, long term, they got to get the liabilities down. They need. Can everybody hear me? See me okay? Sorry about that, guys. Just buy Bitcoin, says James. That's where I'm at. Oh, man. You guys are great. Okay. That's where I'm at personally. Yeah, I see what you mean. Now, when you're investing in the market, how many of you guys have had trouble, identifying all the information about companies? And things are moving so quickly that by the time you've done your research and you've said, I think I understand this, something else comes out around the company and you don't understand it. Because you know how when you're doing research on a company, you get all the information and then you're starting to make your decision and then something comes out and it changes the whole thesis? That happens quite often, right? And how do you make sure that you not only know what's going on, but that you can see the returns and not worry about that you're missing out on the information? Well, I wanted to know that a couple months ago. I was trying to figure that out this last year, really. And I kind of knew because we do research over and over and over again. And a lot of times what we do is we use AI to do the research for us. Now, because I thought, well, if I'm going to be doing this, why don't I just have AI do it for me? And so that's when we created this machine here. And so the machine gives us kind of the support levels. It gives us the resistance levels. We can see the analysis from the top AI companies in the world here. And right now, if you guys would like the machine, if you want to get a 1-year access to it, we have still special offers for the beta. And so I use this. It's been one of our highest ROI tools. It's the highest ROI tool I've ever created. And it saves me so much time, not just in money, but in time, because I can get projections and I can use the best models quickly without having to go do the research again. And if you want access to it, you can, for a limited time when you get it, you also unlock a 1-year license for unlimited access. So you can use all the new models. Right now we have Grok, OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini. You get 1 year unlimited access so that you can use unlimited models and search as many stocks as you would like. And so it's really pretty cool. We've had some new recent updates for watch lists here where you can get AI to generate watch lists for you, and you just simply wake up to the projections of the stocks from the AIs. And we're getting to a point now where you can also have AI scan the markets for you and generate a watch list. And so we're really passionate about getting the best tools in your hand that hedge funds have that you otherwise would not have. And so we go and we get that SEC data. We go get the fundamental analysis. We even have quantum analysis recently integrated for IonQ, for example, where I can get a projection via IonQ and it pulls up the most likely time frame. And right now for limited time, you get access into the beta in the first link in the description below. And so if you'd like to go grab access, again, it's the first link below, and you get StockMate as a bonus for lifetime access. So you can also join our daily live trading session tomorrow morning at market open and our weekly trainings that we hold on how to use this whole machine here. And again, it's the first link. So when it comes to the, where I was at with APLD, we were fairly bullish, and we have been for the last few months, but what we were just watching here was that key level of support. And so to wrap the video here, we were looking at the support level around $20 a share, trying to hold above $22 a share, with nearest resistance around $24.50, and looking for a breakout as they've got this 3-stage to reversals potentially. You got the downtrend, then it's been consolidating the last week, 10 days, looking to break out of consolidation and continue that upward direction. So we'll see how that plays out. So at a key level between 20 and 25 bucks. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Thank you, Thomas and Azitaka and Michael and Hosado and all of you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hosado says SATL. Please, Will. Let me write it down here. Let me just give you a quick, I'll give you a quick surface level. How's that? Let's do a surface level analysis. SATL, it's been selling down since IPO. SATL, let's take a look at their financials. Right now they look bearish. Market cap 190 million. They're up 7% today. Revenue, net income positive, but only about 3 million. Balance sheet, oof. I wouldn't touch them personally, Hosado, because they have more liabilities than assets. See that? So their assets are lower than their total liabilities, which if at any moment they got to pay that back, they are now maybe declaring bankruptcy or having to raise $57 million very quickly. So I don't know what they do. Looks like they work in maybe satellites, something like that. But yeah, they are negative in their balance sheet, so I would not touch them. So hopefully that's helpful for you. But hey, doesn't mean they're a bad, terrible company. It just, that's where they're at right now. They don't have any real runway there, which maybe is why they're selling off. Awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Any BF deals? What are BF deals, Isitaka? Best friend deals? Michael, best two companies. What is the best two companies you cover? I think the best companies I cover right now are probably by industry. In AI, probably AMD. I really like APLD, Big Bear AI. Oh, Black Friday deals for the machine and subscribers. Yeah, you can send me a message here. I'll send you we could talk about, let me know what you're looking for. I'll just send my email right there for you. Shoot me a message. Great, guys. Appreciate you all. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.